Hey guys, we'll get started in just a moment or two. AR, why don't you try talking?
Talk. I replaced overhead light fixtures today, so I feel like a handyman.
Dev, why don't you try talking for a moment?
I have not done anything particularly handy today. I mostly just dealt with a cat wearing the cone of shame.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I deal with 2 cats on a regular basis, and that's unpleasant enough.
Well,
will-
she would stop scratching her wound open, she wouldn't have to be coned.
Ian jumped before I could even say it. They can hear all three of us.
Woohoo.
He knows the drill.
Yes. Okay. You guys ready to go?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Welcome to the WtW podcast. We're here to entertain and inform a bit while talking about Digimon. I'm Mark, I run WtW.
I'm AR Paul for Digimon System Restore.
I'm DevQ, and I've been dealing with Wikimon for 15 years.
That's funny for reasons that we'll get into later. Trying to make me laugh before we even start, Dev. How's everyone's
Just
week
came to
been?
mind.
It's been... Yeah, let's say that.
Yeah, that
Writing
seems to...
fan fiction at 3 in the morning is a pain in the ass when no one else is awake.
Well,
I was just writing some an hour ago.
That's bad judgment on your part, Dev.
Sometimes that's the only time when it comes to you.
Exactly.
You gotta do it when you gotta write when you want to write. Because it sucks writing when you don't want to write.
Yeah, even writing articles, there's times when it's just like, man, I don't really want to do this right now. Especially the more detailed ones that I actually have to do stuff for. It's like, can I just do this tomorrow?
Toei and Bandai know when you don't want to write articles. That's when they hit you with news dumps.
No, see, those can sometimes be easy because based on what they are, sometimes I can just sort of not quite autopilot. It's the ones where have to scan this, have to edit the scans, have to put in some form of analysis and or opinion. It's like, man, I don't want to do this right now. I don't have the time. And then they fall into a pit of, oh yeah, I should really do that. It's been 3 or 4 months.
Then there's the ones where you have to hunt down one of your friends who can actually read moon runes. Like, what the hell does this say?
Oh, I forget about those too. Like I have Saver stuff that's been on base for like 3 years that I keep forgetting to poke people at to translate.
There's Saver stuff?
Well, like old ancient stuff that I found that I don't think anyone had translations or photos of that I tracked down. And it's like, oh yeah, without translations, this is completely worthless. So it goes into a folder to be remembered in 2025.
That's a future Digimonica filler.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it depends what Dev finds. Dev's great for filler.
Yeah, I'm an absolute hoarder, and I just grab everything I can find and stuff it in my room, and then I excavate it.
Dev's old filler lady. My favorite, though, is when she starts throwing me stuff. It's like, I think we did this last year. Then we both look, it's like, oh, we did this 2 years ago. Because it's in Dev's folders of hell.
Yeah.
And then the new episode sort of had to do with hell. Kind of. The blazing blue friendship.
It had illusions of hell in it.
Yeah, and this is all... It was a fun episode in general. And it's also fun how the absolute creativity began and ended with Gabumon on the cross.
Yeah, that got some people talking.
And the least interesting part of the episode
would be inappropriate.
Yeah, it really was. It's just sort of we're just gonna go with a ritual sacrifice motif. Just play along.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
No, it really doesn't matter. And literally 90% of the posts were the exact same joke over and over. Not only that, the same screenshot even. Once the episode aired, we could have gotten at least a bit more variety in the shots of him. It was either him there with his head down, or the one with him screaming.
When I went to find the main screenshot for my blog this week, I went out of my way to not pick that one, because sometimes I do overlap, and I always feel shame about that. This time I'm like, no, whatever I do, I am not picking the main Gabumon crucifixion shot.
Oh, sometimes you use mine.
No, I always take my own. Sometimes it's the same frame, but
yes.
it's...
No. I don't mean you take them from me. I mean you choose one of the same things I end up using.
Yeah, sometimes that's just the best shot for the episode. Like,
Yeah.
it's just the best way to encapsulate what's happening.
Oh, absolutely. Very.
Did you use Elecmon getting electrocuted?
See, and that was even more.
I like the appearance of that Elecmon.
The appearance of it was interesting. Minus that everyone wants to come up with theories why we're seeing it. It's like because they just chose to do it.
They needed a filler Digimon to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's cute and fluffy.
That one had the best. They picked that one because it had the best scream.
So I'm still 100% not sure how I feel about when they, and yeah, plenty of shows do this. I'm still just not sure how I feel about when they do the characters were in position A last time we saw them, and the episode just starts with them in the middle of something.
And media res is what that's called.
Yeah, it doesn't feel natural when Adventure does it. It feels like it's done just to not spend the 3 to 5 minutes of setup of, okay, he meets the Chibikmon, he finds out blah 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 blah, and Gabumon gets captured.
Worth it for this because, like, where you had last week, where what was going on with Mimi getting to her position,
we knew where she was.
Require, like, that was happening over the course of several days, and she had to build up to that, so it wasn't something you could just go, it was okay to go back to that. This time there's so little build-up necessary for it that it's weird to drop it in the middle of it. Like, if you're really gonna do that, you might as well just go with but you might as well just go with the cheap cliffhanger and show that.
Like, at the very least, cut to him for 10 seconds last week and show them running to a mountain off in the distance. You don't need anything more than that. But something would have been nice, I think.
Yeah, you would expect to be like a freeze frame, and it's just like,
something.
You want to talk about how I got into this position?
No, I really don't want it. I really do not want that trope showing up where you may be wondering how. I 100% do not want that to happen. that happens, I will 100% complain about it. And then Joe and Gomamon.
What was going on? I'm having issues again. What were you talking about?
Dev was joking that it would start off with the thing of the character going, "You may be wondering how I got into this position."
I mean, that's basically what this was.
No, I mean the literal turn to the camera. And you may be wondering how I got into this wacky situation.
Who did that? Who did that exact line first?
I don't remember. No, it was way before that. I always flash back to Saved by the Bell.
It came up to my mind first.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then Joe and Gomamon show up, and I like their entrance. Yeah, they're finally out of the hot springs. And
after 5 days.
I like their explanation of getting out of the hot springs.
I would have. That's one where
I would have liked to see it because it was cartoony, to be honest.
Because that's really just them explaining it, and them explaining it just isn't as fun as actually getting to see it. That really tells you that Joe's entire subplot was just a waste.
Here's what feels especially stupid about not showing us. Do you know? They had Nannymon's original actor.
Yeah.
He was in the show a week or two ago. Get him for a few lines.
It was honestly, when we saw everyone's situations, that was the most entertaining of all of them, and that's the one that they don't bother going into.
Yeah. I did like the idea they sort of just got pulled out while rushing, and then Joe's angrily kind of putting on his clothes and everything. It was just kind of amusing to me. He was so happy to see Yamato, but he was also kind of always in this stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
that's just so happy to find someone that is not a Nanimon or a Blossomon. And Mephismon certainly talks as the villain this week, doesn't he?
Talking or chanting, whichever you prefer to describe it.
Meh.
Dev, you really
Bleeding.
need to stop doing the goat noise.
It's a habit.
Because half the time your mic cuts it out partway through, anyways.
And that is an absolute shame. Everyone should be subjected to my terrifyingly accurate barnyard animal noises.
I just find it funny that they chose Messimon's actor for it, and it was so funny having him talk to just have the sort of reverse devil talk here was. It worked, but it would have been funny to have him say something. And then we had a bunch of troop on it. You know, we had all the little Cross Wars cameos, which was neat.
I'm kind
And
of over random Cross Wars cameos, if we're being honest. That was fun the first few times.
I'm perfectly happy with them. And then we had. Have we ever seen the harpoon torpedo used like as an actual harpoon?
But I can't think of where.
Yeah, I feel like
Like it definitely hasn't been used as far as, you know, sticking in the cliff and them using it as a handhold, but
yeah.
Yeah, as an actual harpoon, I feel like they've done it somewhere, but it's not.
Yeah, I have that feeling too. I just can't recall it.
Or is it just that we said harpoon torpedo for 20 years and just in our head that, oh, it's a harpoon?
It's probably one of those things where it was in like one of Ikakumon's random 02 appearances that none of us remember.
Actually, that may have been it, because I do vaguely remember them shooting off and tripping people with stuff.
Okay. Okay.
Or like carrying around Iori on the board.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Maybe.
Like there was that one ice episode. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, the climbing stuff was neat. Did they really not like Joe's thing in this episode worked well, minus that they like, are we supposed to take that to be the crest, or is it just whatever it is? Because Joe's counter chanting where he's just going off facts he remembers from his books. I would have appreciated some sort of, or just the power of Joe.
I mean, I'm going
something,
with power
something,
of
crest
Joe.
of faith, blah blah blah.
It's honestly, I'm chalking that up to rule of funny. In the end.
Yeah, I guess that does.
Like if we can, you know, if we're just kind of nodding our heads at the crappy plot armor at them being invincible to laser fire, we can go along with him going along with random schoolhouse facts
I
to
guess. And then
counter a demonic chant.
And then he accidentally creates a cult with the Troopmon.
I wish that would carry over. Like Joe just
Actually,
shows
this
up
really reminds me of the end of Flight of Dragons, where the protagonist beats the evil wizard by chanting random scientific facts.
I did not even hear the title you said.
Flight of Dragons.
Not familiar with it.
80s movies.
There's a lot of 80s movies that just bleed the 80s, to be honest.
God, it was so 80s.
And we get Yamato's flashback to meeting Gabumon, and I believe he's the only one that we've sort of had no real commentary on the meeting up to this point.
Yeah, we're long past the time when we would have wanted it.
I'm fine getting it. I'm just trying to remember if I think he is the only one where nothing's really even mentioned of it up to now.
Well, no, I mean, I guess Koshiro just sort of popped in with Tentomon. I don't think we ever actually met.
He did actually mention it. It was
he did. I mean, he mentioned that he had him. I don't know if we.
No, it was that Mochimon or Tentomon just showed up like a few minutes prior, and he'd been sitting with him, which is close enough. Which is close enough for me. I just meant in the sense of nothing being said, like where they kind of
yeah. But that's why it's disappointing because for me, because when the show started, like that was sort of a a point of, oh, okay, Yamato was here earlier. What's going on with that? There's a little bit of intrigue that we had at the very beginning that we all completely forgot about. And now to get to this point and find out that it was actually a very routine, not particularly interesting interaction, I'm a little disappointed and kind of wish they didn't bother showing it at all.
He didn't even grab an Algomon and swing him.
Yeah,
I kept thinking he was going to
it
do
was
something
kind of
like
it
that.
was off it was really weak.
Yeah.
I was mostly fine with it. It would have been nice if it were better, though. It was just nice to have it show up and for it to be mentioned that, oh, yes, he was around to some degree. And then
At
he
this point, yeah, that's the thing is at this point it doesn't matter anymore.
and then he saves Gabumon with the power of literal friendship for once. And we got probably the least obvious silhouette energy form yet. Like, this is one where I could actually understand if people missed it. The energy metal Garurumon there. And then Mephismon is gone, along with hopefully any theory people were coming up with based on him showing up in the Digivice.
Oh god, no, I want to hear this crap theory.
Oh, no, there was no theory. I'm saying that because he was in it, people are like, oh, he has some big important role to play. That he'll show up and be an
Oh,
important
okay.
villain. So I'm watching him
Okay.
sitting there going, so if he is he going to get away? It's just like, poof,
No.
nope, gone.
Poof, gone.
Yeah.
No, he didn't even have any real lines.
Hey, he had a credited actor. That's more than most characters get to
That's
say.
more than most villains have gotten lately.
And then Commandomon shows up at the end. The greatest Digimon in the show. And now they're back.
The puppy woke up.
And now they're back together before being separated in episode. I will say this: most people were pretty sure they were going to still be separated based on the episode guide stuff. So it's nice for once again for that to have hidden information from us. Which I'm always very happy when those do not line up with what people 100% assume will happen. So I always find that kind of nice, to be honest. So next time we get the Potato Man.
The one episode I'm actually looking forward to.
Everyone just wants to know how Joe's going to be interacting with a Joe plot about French fries and potatoes.
I missed all of that again. I'm going to restart Discord once this discussion's over.
Yeah.
But what did you say there?
We were talking about Potato Man next episode and French
fries. Oh yeah,
fries
I don't
and
care
Joe.
about next week. I don't care about next week.
Oh,
next
you're terrible, AR. Most people care about next week. Go reset Discord now while we talk about French fries and other important things.
Yeah, okay.
So hungry and I want French fries.
And Giagumon gets an important role for. Has he ever had an important role before?
The only time he's really showed up is in Tamers, where there was like a Giagumon stampede.
Okay, so no.
That was like the peak of its importance.
This will be the most important role he's ever had, talking about French fries with Joe. Which I look forward to. If this is not a silly, stupid episode, then I'll be annoyed. Because it really should be. Don't you think so?
Exactly. This is like the perfect setup for comedy gold.
Yeah, this needs to be like the Mimi episode where it's just kind of dumb and what's going on.
I want to see some more actual personality from these kids rather than just like back-to-back action is okay, but
I want to see potatoes, French fries, Potato Man. Maybe mention Tetsuro from Galaxy Express 999 because he looks like a potato. Stuff like that. Yeah. And then when AR's back,
baked potato.
Then when AR's back, we shall talk about the fun next news.
It's not that I don't think next week is going to be potentially entertaining or amusing. I just don't really. I'm just not interested in the next episode until I'm done with this one.
How dare you, sir?
It's not that interesting a show. It's like I'm just going week to week here. Like people are talking about what's going to happen 2 or 3 weeks from now. I'm like, this just not interesting to me.
That is why you write about it every week, do a show about it, and discuss it constantly.
That's because I have a podcasting slot and I have a Patreon. That's
Yeah.
why I do it.
So you're basically letting people pay to hurt you.
Yeah, it's what it's coming down to, really.
Okay, fair enough. At least you
Yeah.
admit it. And then moving from potatoes to milk and oranges. Adventure and theme 4 has been announced
Orange
for next
sherbet.
week. The song will be Overseas Highway by Wolpez Carter and composed by Orange Star. And it'll be interesting to hear what this sounds like. Because the
I was not expecting a new ending
I
before
was.
a new opening.
It's about time.
Yeah, we were expecting a new opening before this realistically, but yeah, this is where the ending we
Yeah, if
slotted
this is
in
the
for.
right timing for a new ending, it's weird that we haven't gotten a new opening yet.
Yeah. Well,
Or at least like a new animation for it.
No, I'm less. I have never been on with the idea that they were ever going to do that. People were saying that they were going to do that after episode 1. I'm like, no. This is the animation.
I could have imagined stuff like the other characters be added into it as they are added to the show. But once
that would imply that the other characters matter.
I mean, they didn't really matter in the original show either, so
How dare you?
it's not exactly false though. It's sort of like, man, think of Tamers. Man, Tamer sure did have a lot of characters, like
No, 3
not
mattered.
like not Taichi, blue-haired Ray,
Yeah, it had
red-haired girl, and there's occasionally some other characters who show up.
It was 3 characters mattered. Jury had a subplot. Impmon had a subplot. The rest you can take or leave.
Impmon had a subplot in other episodes though, but basically, yes, that's how it works every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the endings for Adventure have been very interesting to say nothing else. Like they've been very different in tone, song to song. So I'm very curious to hear what this ends up being.
It's like sort of like the Appmon endings, only these are kind of better. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think. Yeah.
See, here's the weird thing. I actually liked the Appmon endings. I just didn't necessarily like them as Digimon endings.
Yeah, I liked the last one. The last
ending
was really good.
Well, the last one was written by Ayumi Miyazaki for that group. And if anyone's gonna just pop in randomly and know how to put together a Digimon song, it's him or brain froze on name. Guy who sings Slash.
Yeah. Oda or whatever.
Oda, yes.
Yeah.
Michihiko Oda.
Michihiko Oda.
Yeah, completely froze on the name, but yeah. And then
yeah, it's like it's kind of like the Appmon endings, only they're still only tangentially relevant, but they're better.
Yeah. And then moving on, we're less than 2 weeks until the Vital Bracelet, and they've shown off the first Ultimate Digimon, who we've already seen before. And
no one can seem to spell it correctly.
Well, we'll get into spelling Kaduchimon later, shall we? We have a relevant thing to bring up with that later, but... So, what do you prefer, Dev? Kaduchimon or Kazuchimon?
Kazuchimon, which is actually how you would pronounce it.
Yes, it is. We'll get into that later. See, here's the thing. Now that we... Sorry, go ahead, AR.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to figure out where that... I was behind in this conversation and wondering how the heck that was... how that's a debate.
Because Bandai put the D there on the reference book. And at that point, it's
is
how
it
much...
Is it a romanizing versus kana thingy?
Basically, yes.
Oh, fun.
It's basically, is the name so wrong that I feel like having the energy to argue about it with people?
Mm-hmm.
Ogremon? Sure. Am I going to argue about a Digimon that we haven't seen before, that doesn't have any history behind the name that can point at? At that point, I'm just Kaduchimon, don't care, moving on. But we'll get into that later.
Yep. Okay, I see it. I just pulled up the reference. Yep. I see it.
And now, poll results for Favorite X Digimon. So
Woohoo.
so we start with
The
Minervamon,
one the poll I forgot existed.
Lilithmon, Dark Knightmon. Those three were all groups. So Minervamon, obvious. Dark Knightmon was the Brazil group. In fact, did we mention that like 2 weeks ago that a Brazil group said they were going to try to vote for Dark Knightmon?
Yeah.
I think we were talking about potential factions.
Yeah.
And who they were leaning towards.
Yeah. And then Lilithmon, I think there may be multiple groups for Lilithmon because I've been told different things. So it appears it may be
Well,
an
the thing is,
Italian group.
Lilithmon is also a really good design in general.
Yeah, but
of
it's
an
not a
already
design
popular
anyone
Digimon.
cares about, though. Yeah, so it looks like that's Lilithmon's an Italian group and an Asian group accidentally working together. And then 4 is Omegamon, 5 is Dukemon, 6 is Bellstarmon. That actually looks like that may be a group from the Philippines, Bellstarmon. Because the weird thing is, I don't even remember if anyone actually liked that design, even when it showed up.
It's just too busy, honestly.
Yeah. War
It's
Greymon.
hard to tell what's going on.
I feel like we're breaking down election results.
It's funny. Angelmon. This is one that I can't tell if it is a group and they're being quiet or if it actually got there because I don't remember many people
Nobody
liking this
has
design.
claimed responsibility for
Yeah.
Angelmon.
Yes. Yeah. This is probably a case of a group did it as a lark is like, oh shit, we're not saying this is us.
It's an anonymous.
Yeah.
It's an anonymous faction that will remain in the shadows until the moment is right.
Number 9's a tie between Magnamon and Alphamon. I feel sad to see Alphamon fall so far when there aren't groups behind him.
Well, also, I think some people forget that he's actually an X-antibody Digimon because he doesn't have it tacked on to the end of his name.
Yeah, not having the X next to the name really
now,
hurts him.
Number 11 surprised me at first until I thought about it. It's like, yeah, I guess a lot of people really did like Rapidmon X when he was introduced. I still think it's
a lot of good designs here. Yeah.
Yeah. UL Force Vidramon, I don't think him ever showing up on a poll actually shocks anyone.
No, that's not a surprise.
Now the three-way tie for 13, I think, is probably are three of the more obvious ones. Beelzemon X, who everyone likes. Jessmon X, who everyone laughs at but does like, because... And then Itmon X, who everyone likes.
Original Jessmon is pointy enough.
Well, that's why it was funny when everyone found out we were getting Jessmon X. It's like, he already is an X Digimon visually.
How do you make him pointier?
Yeah. And then Itmon X, who still one of my favorite redesigns because it has personality to it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Number 16 is Lucemon. That one's one that I expected to be on the list, to be honest, because everyone liked that when that showed up. Number 17, poor Dorumon falling down the list.
Same problem as Alphamon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 18's Chaosdramon, who I forgot wasn't an X antibody already, to be honest. I was just like, oh yeah, he does have an X form, and he's not an X already. Him and I believe it's Rust Tyrannomon, I always forget they're not X Digimon already.
Because they're already just so spiky.
Well, they're already in the case of Rust Tyrannomon, I believe it is Asmaria's design in the first place, I think. 19's Metal Grumon X. Metal Grumon X rarely shows up anywhere on these, so it's nice to see him. And number 20, Numamon X, which...
one to be at the bottom.
Yes. But also
to make the list, but be on the bottom of it.
But also not when I saw him on the list, I was just like, him being on the list does not actually feel that shocking to me, to be honest.
No,
isn't at all, because he's surprisingly popular.
Yeah, and it's like
it has the scary thing.
With all of these, Royal Knight forms, that you'd think there'd be a few random child levels and adult levels just randomly showing up here just for the fun of it.
I'm trying to decide if anyone on this list actually feels random to me, and honestly, it might be Angelmon X.
I never
Just
get
say
surprised.
because like Angelomon is already really popular, and
Yeah.
a
No, I
lot of
know,
people
but
were
I mean
excited for
X
I never get
specifically.
surprised when Angelomon makes anything.
I don't either. It's just the design. I just remember so many people not liking it. Felt a bit odd. But you're not wrong, though. Is the thing.
I think it's the head piece.
No, okay, no. There is the only one I'm surprised by is Chaosdramon X because, like I said, I forgot that he wasn't in X Digimon already. So it's like, what's that image? Oh wait, oh that does exist. And then we have multiple poll results coming up soon, so we'll see what pops up with those. And then we have cards. So we got
So
the
many cards.
we got the 6 box topper parallel cards of the various tamers. It's nice to get the art larger, and especially the bottom half, but slightly less relevant in this case when 3 of them are literally just images we already have had.
Just another chance to nod and smile at the fact that the Cyber Sleuth kids got
Yeah.
cards.
And then the defeat parallel card, which that's a really nice looking card, I have to say. Like, really nice. We got the printable playmat for Booster Set 5 with Omegamon. So we have all
I
the card.
really like that one.
Yeah, that mat looks quite nice. And then we have all the cards at this point, parallel cards normal. That does leave us with, I think, the strangest thing so far for the card game. Nothing in Booster Set 5 uses the Defeat and Omegamon key art, does it? I don't think we saw that at all for anything.
Might
The
end up
back,
using it as like a tournament promo or something like
that's
that.
what I'm guessing, but it feels weird because that was like the first art we saw from Booster Set 5. It's on the promo poster, and nothing. Just feels a bit odd, but yeah. Then we got some English updates. So we got a 30-second commercial, and then we got a shorter 15-second commercial. We got a printable playmat. They said it was for 1.0, but I'm going to go ahead and say they meant 1.5 because we got the 1.01 already, but whatever. The,
Hmm.
the release schedule for them have been so off due to COVID and trying to get enough stuff that they may literally mean 1.0, even though it came out a week or two ago, I think. So then they announced a play at home tournament kit, which I actually kind of like this, where just like a small 4-person tournament. It has sleeves for participation prizes and a card case as a winner's prize. I kind of like that, to be honest.
Oh.
Then the store celebration kit has the special version of the 0.0 promo, and we can see the cover nicer. It has They've got a lot of use out of these fucking memory gauges since they introduced them like a month or two after the card game started in Japan, haven't they? Because these have shown up
Nice.
a lot, yeah. Then window clings and acrylic stands for the store. I'm trying to decide if a store needs 4 acrylic stands of Omegamon, or if that just means there's going to be 1 in the store and 3 of them are going to be sold as collector's items.
It's
'Cause-
Omegamon. You need 4 in the store.
Yeah. And then they've started the registration for the March online tournaments where the mat's going to be given away. And Japanese fans are still. Anytime that mat comes up on Twitter, there ends up being Japanese responses like, basically, when's this coming out in Japan? They haven't said anything about it. They really want that mat.
I don't blame them.
No, it's actually it's really nice one. Although I have to say, I'm not liking the theme of having the mats where there's no card outlines. Because isn't part of the point of having the mat is that you don't have to remember where to put stuff?
It's a surface thing too.
Yeah, but isn't it supposed to be both, though, I think?
I mean, if you have a general one, you can use it for other card games.
Yeah,
Or just
yeah,
like a
you're
mouse
right.
pad, kind of.
Yeah,
It's like you can have the sweet Omegamon mat and then use it for magic.
yeah, you're right. And then Fun Digica did a battle with Booster Set 5. They unboxed Booster Set 5 and Card Battle. Continued the round robin. I really do hope they will end up subbing these at some point because Card Battle would be much more amusing if I knew what was happening. So
It's like, ooh, people are moving cards around. I have no clue what's going on.
yeah. Although people are happy anytime these get posted. And then you know how I'm not putting up the image quite yet. You know how sometimes there's news and like things just kind of break insanely. People like when they don't understand what it is.
I scrolled past this the moment I saw it.
Agumon bear bricks. So
It's fucking
I-
horrifying.
I feel bad, I think that me scrolling past it was the right decision because reading up on the details for the podcast, I regretted it.
so ignoring the collector's aspect, this is pretty standard for bear brick. I was like I don't collect them. I was kind of surprised how many people completely had no idea what was going on. Like people are like trying to figure out what was up with the design. It's like no, that's what a bear
No,
brick is.
that's what it is.
It's
Doesn't matter, but that's
no.
what it is.
Oh no, yeah, like this is very much standard. It's basically a teddy bear plastic design. They will change some of the head and some of the body, but generally speaking, it's a general teddy bear type design. And two of them come in a set. A normal
12,000 yen.
$100. I think.
That's
See, here's the
It's
thing:
yeah.
if they
fucking
sold
ugly.
if they sold the 1X one separately, I wouldn't care how much the 4X costs. That you have, it's the bundle that I think is kind of like the
Mm-hmm.
give it to them. Because, like, if you sold the small one, it was, let's say, 20 or 30. 30 would be excessive, but I could go, I'm not getting it, but I understand if someone wants this. It's having.
I'm not all that familiar with what bear bricks are, but I'm just saying that when I saw that price tag, I had to Google to make sure my knowledge of yen to dollars was still correct.
Yeah.
Like, am I off by a zero here? Is that
Yeah,
really $100?
yeah, it is.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would not be shocked if this basically sells out the first fucking day.
My God.
Yeah.
This is
But
horrible. This is just.
oh, see,
This shouldn't exist.
I'm not bothered by the design at all because it's one of those things where in my head I knew that if we ever got an Agumon bear brick, this is exactly what it's sort of like. People are like, look at the Funko Pop Digimon and how they have the giant heads. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what they look like.
Yeah, that's it. That's the apt comparison. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's sort of like if we ever get a non-cosplay Digimon Neandroid. We all know exactly. We all have in our heads an exact picture of what almost any character would look like in that toy line.
Yeah.
This is exactly the Agumon bear brick. I'm not saying it's a good design. I'm just saying that for what it is, this is exactly what I would expect.
Unfortunately.
Why does
Yeah.
bear brick exist? This is
Yeah,
just.
why does bear brick exist? That's what it comes down to.
I mean, that's what people say about Funko Pops. It's not going to stop people from fucking buying thousands.
The thing is,
blame
Funko
you. I
Pops
don't-
are also like $10, not 120.
I mean, some of the special ones are. I've seen people go nuts for some of the ones that are harder to get.
Yeah, but they're
I
still
think
only being
okay.
sold
Here's
initially for like
here's what
10, 12 bucks.
no, some of them go for a lot more. Here's what bothers me about the bear bricks more than anything else. I thought the different scales would be like the same mold and they just upscaled it. It's a different fucking mold looking at it. Like that could just be like a CGI render, but I think they actually made a separate fucking mold for this. That's fucking weird to me.
For
So
$100, I expect the big one to talk.
oh yeah, that's great, AR. Someone's gonna get it for you late at night. You're just gonna hear like Agumon out from the fucking corner. It's gonna be like, AR, it's $100. Why don't you love
You
me?
spent $100 on me. You could have spent it on food.
Yeah, so that's out this month. It's at their store, Project 16, and some of their online stores. This is one of those things where, like, I don't have any issue if someone wants it. I feel bad that they have to deal with, they'll have to deal with intermediaries for this, which means realistically it's gonna be like 200, 180.
Have fun.
Poor Agumon Bear. If someone gets this and just wants the big one, pass off the small one to AR when conventions are back up and just don't say anything to him. Just like
Oh
hold out your
God.
hand, just like slip it into his pocket or something, and
Oh
he
no,
just
it would
finds
not
it.
be it would not be the first time someone has handed me random Digimon crap at a convention.
No, just like slip
That
it.
has
No, no,
happened
no, no.
multiple
Just
times.
no. Just like slip it into a pocket or something when he's not paying attention, or like just put or just when he's at a panel room as you're walking out, just like put it on the table, staring at him. So when he turns around, it's just standing there, and he's just like, motherfucker, and just it's just revealed to him.
That would honestly, that would be really funny if someone was able to pull that off.
Yeah.
And it would be the small one, so I wouldn't mind
Yeah.
as much. Also, I wouldn't have to pay for it.
No, even better. AR is like talking to someone at a panel table, and you just sneak it behind and put the 4X there.
Oh no.
And you just wait. AR turns around, just like jumps at the fucking.
That's when I call security.
What if someone makes a cosplay of it? And
And just shows up and just sitting in the
sneaks
front
up
row.
behind him.
Just like shows up at one of AR's. No, yeah. So here's what they do. Someone just makes cosplay of this, goes to the front row of one of AR's panel, and just like crosses their legs and crosses their arms, just like tapping, just tapping
And
silently.
I'm picturing it'd be like one of the skin tight ones too.
No, see, I'm thinking of like the full like crazy cardboard Lego body
Oh,
with like the
God.
giant Agumon head,
that would actually be kind of impressive if someone did that.
and they just
If
stare at you the whole time.
The skin tight one would be like just like legit horrifying.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not funny. It has to be where it almost doesn't make sense, and it's just staring at you the whole fucking time.
It would be distracting, but at least I'd be sort of like, okay, I give you credit for putting that abomination together.
Yeah. And not quite a convention, but we have concert news. So the Ayumi Miyazaki concert, it doesn't appear to be geolocked, but I'm not going to enough effort of making an account at the ticketing site to find out. So if someone does that, let us know. That one's being live streamed, and it'd be interesting to find out if it was geolocked or not, but like I said, not going to that effort. And we have the packaging for the Mugen Dramon model kit. They went with Machine Dramon for the English title, which looks nice there. And man, I don't know if that's Asmaria art, but it certainly looks like it is, doesn't it? Although I guess it's just machiny, which is kind of his look.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the more updated colors though, where it has kind of like the metallic sheen that probably isn't really there and it's been painted on to look nice, but I like it regardless. That's out this month in
Gonna find
Japan.
out eventually.
That's out this month in Japan. Next month elsewhere. I will not be getting it. I think you pre-ordered this, didn't you, Dev?
Yeah, I had one of my friends grab one for me since he's also ordering in a bunch of like Gundam shit in general. So
Yeah. It looks nice though, I have to say. And then art. So the social media art for the episode is the Troopmon chanting.
That's
They
perfect.
use music notes, but yes, chanting.
Yeah.
And then
That's
Kenji
great.
Watanabe, Gabumon on the cross.
With no platform on that one.
Yeah.
Because in the episode he had a platform to stand on out of
Yeah,
comfort.
Mephismon was oddly like weird about like making sure that Gabumon was comfortable.
Yeah,
That's
not in this one. This is straight up sacrifice.
Yeah. Although I have to say, anytime I look at the image and it's not large, when it shrunk, looking at it, the top of the cross, I keep going, why does Gabumon have sunglasses on top of his head, and how's it getting around the horn?
Yeah.
Because it looks like
I can definitely see that.
Actually, I hadn't pictured that until you explained it. Now it's the only thing I can see.
Yeah, that's happens to me every time
Yeah.
I see the image and it's not large.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have questions. Many, many questions. So for those of you in the chat, feel free to start throwing those up. And we will start with the ones that were sent in ahead of time. Oh, Lord. No, I got linked to something very, very stupid. Well, I'll go over that later. Ooh, that's dumb. Uh, so the first question that was sent in, someone wants to know why would they do something weird and put a colon at the end of the title? It's actually
That's
not that
not.
weird.
That's
That's
that's anime.
yeah. Because here's
It's
the thing.
anime being anime.
Basically, they don't want it to have a different title for at all, but they want it to say something else for when it's written down to specify that it's different. So like, I mean, it's really common.
It's not. I mean, I don't necessarily condone the practice, but it is just a really
Oh no,
common
absolutely.
thing.
It's yeah. It's the one that I
It's
need.
dumb, but it's a thing.
Yeah, the one that I need to pull up is currently running. If you really want to see how dumb it can get, season 2 of the quintessential quintuplets uses the multiple integer sign. So just to show, so this is what season 2 of the show ends with for its title.
Oh, okay. The integral. Okay.
Yeah, that's not fucking help. That's not like I'm not
No,
watching the show, but that here's what that means. They wanted something different there so that when it's written down, they can say it's a different season, but they also
Yeah.
do not want anyone saying anything else. So the reason why it's Digimon Adventure : is because most people are just gonna say Digimon Adventure, or they'll
Yeah.
specify it in some other way. That is
Yeah.
super common, and there's been some really dumb ones. My personal favorite is actually a show we've brought up a few times recently. Sedokai Yakuindomo put the asterisk, the little tiny star, and when the director was asked about it, he goes, "You can imagine it's a butthole."
Oh God. I think there's a series that has the first season as a question mark and the second season as an exclamation point. I think that's one that's been done before.
I think that might be Nagima.
Nagima, yeah, I think that's right. Nagima
Yeah.
sounds right.
Because it's like the first season is a question mark, then the second season is an exclamation point and a question mark, and it's a reboot.
Yep.
Yeah, and then like home video specials in the movies kind of ignore both of those. Yeah, this is not an uncommon thing. It's
And
dumb, but
Negima's not a new series either. That's
no.
like got to be like 15 years old by
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, like early, like mid
Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah, it's mid 2000s.
Oh, no, wait, I forgot the best one. K-On!
Oh yeah.
K-On! Season 2 just added a second exclamation point to the title. I forgot about that. So, yeah.
Kind of wish it would keep going and have third and fourth season each time they just add an exclamation point.
Joe wants to know what is our favorite vehicle-esque Digimon or Digimon-type entities. Basically
Oh.
anything from the digital world that could be described as a vehicle.
Oh, I'm a Trailmon obsessive. I love the
Digibeetle.
Trailmons.
I think at the moment I have to give it to Commandomon.
Yeah, I mean, Commandomon's a good choice. It's just the Trailmon's great because they do actually split them up into having like 6 different ones in Frontier, and each of them have their own look and personality to them.
The
Yeah.
little wacky races.
And in the dub,
Basically,
all
yes.
voiced by this, and in the dub, all voiced by the same actor.
And now I'm just remembering the Johnny Cash one.
Yep, I forgot which one that was. Is that?
Yeah, I don't remember the names enough to come up with it, to be honest.
Buffalo. I want to say Buffalo, but that might be wrong.
I was gonna say Dark Trailmon. Is what I
Technically, it's
wanted.
Trailmon of
I thought the Dark
Darkness.
Trailmon gave me a Hell 9000 vibe.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, I'm mixing them up, but yeah. Oh, okay. For the next one, I was sending Dev. Would you like to read the question, or do you want me to read it with fake snark?
You do it with fake snark.
Okay. How does DevQ feel when Mark takes unfair pot shots at Wikimon?
Is there such a thing as an unfair pot shot at Wikimon?
I should actually point this out. Is it's really worded in a way that it feels like it's meant to try to start an argument with us. I sent this to Dev ahead of time, and she just started fucking laughing.
I cackled like a goddamn hyena with
Yeah.
a feather shoved up its ass.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull up Wikimon, beloved Digimon wiki that advertised itself as the best resource for Digimon info. And let's go ahead and look up a name. Ogremon. Redirects me to Orgmon. What do you know?
I like to call it Orgymon.
By the way, Mark, I looked it up, and the Johnny Cash impression was actually Locomon in the Tamers movie.
Oh, you're absolutely okay. Yes, you're absolutely correct. There's a lot of fucking trained Digimon. Let's just go with that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Locomon's good too.
Yeah, I guess the question is, Dev, do you actually think I've ever made a pot shot that's unfair, and or made an unfair comment about Wikimon? I guess would be the start. All joking aside, have I made any criticisms that are actually unfair?
I've been on there for over 15 fucking years. It is a dumpster fire, and I live in it.
Should be the
It
other
is my
one.
beloved dumpster fire.
Oh, wait, no, I found the best. I found the best one. I'm going to link this to Dev, and Dev can choose to comment. Dev, please look at the edit history of that image.
Now I gotta check this out.
Just look at the history of images for that image. I've sent
I'm
them
just
the
going
link.
to kill everyone.
I've sent them the link to the Ogremon image. So in 2008, a 320 by 320 image of Ogremon was put up.
Quality.
Then and that's all we. To be fair, that's the best image of Ogremon's
Yeah, it's
art
very
that existed.
Yeah, sure.
And then
Sure.
December
Take
6th,
it this
2000.
way, they used to have them at only
was-
200.
Wait,
It was the
and
old
then
time.
and then December 6th, 2019, probably from them putting it up on Twitter, someone put up a big, nice 900 by 900 image of it. Like, great image, maybe a bit saturated, but far better than what existed. Like, maybe even upscaled, I don't know, but it looks pretty good. And the next day, someone got rid of it and put back the 320 by 320 image.
Same person too.
Yeah, because apparently there's this thought that, oh, the reference book is more officialer than the other official sources.
Damn picture.
I like how AR is now just staring at the picture, going insane. Yeah. Then Galhart.
I mean, not the file quality. This is the same. Yeah.
No, but that was my point. Yeah. But yeah, then there's lots great at Wikimon, but there's also a lot that's less based on it being a wiki and more based on someone made a decision and isn't willing to change their mind. Somehow Ogremon's page having the name wrong and the image wrong just feels like an extra kick, though.
To be fair, I've tried changing it back before, but after a certain point, I'm just too tired to fight with stupidity.
And that's why, like a name like Kaduchimon, I'm not going to argue about a name that just showed up and it's not worth the effort. We have lives, people. Lives.
I have a job.
And then Galhart wants to know, thoughts on Yamato and Garurumon being far behind Taichi and Greymon with evolutions? They're not really that far behind. I mean,
it's really one step.
Yeah.
In the end.
I mean, Taichi's gotten technically 2 ultimates.
But
that's what they're.
But here's the thing: that could be done in 2 episodes if you want to.
Right.
Or they could do something crazy like maybe Metal Garurumon doesn't show up first and it's Crest Garurumon. I don't expect that,
and we don't know
could.
We don't know if Blitz Greymon is going to be a fixture or anything. Yeah, that might have been a one-off thing.
Yeah, I feel like I would expect him to show up again.
I would too, but
they don't
still
have
not a certainty. Yeah, they don't have to.
Yeah. And then someone said you talk about old games lots. Do you remember any games from when you were little that you really wanted, and do they hold up?
Games that we actually got, or games that we never got as a kid that we came into, experience later on?
I think minus 1 lack of capitalization, nothing was changed on this one. So this is how it was sent.
Okay, I can't think of anyone that I really wanted and never got. So I guess I'm stuck.
Assume one you got then and revisit at some point.
It's gonna date me a lot, but Mario 3. The original NES Super Mario Brothers 3 was the one I remember really fighting for as a kid.
Everyone coveted Mario 3.
And they were right.
Yeah.
That game is great.
Yeah.
I was delighted when they re-released it because all the copies that I had gotten a hold of after about like 3 hours of playthrough, they would crash and burn.
Hmm.
What the hell
That
was
one
wrong with
still
your
gets
Nintendo?
that one still gets a lot of play on the Switch Online.
Yeah, Mario 3 is great. Dev, why don't you go next? Or was it your answer Mario 3 also?
Actually, it was Sonic 2 because I was obsessed with Sonic as a small child, and one of my older cousins actually gave me his copy of Sonic 2, and it was like amazing. And then I replayed it recently, and it still holds up.
Nice.
Yeah,
Like it's just fun to play.
Yeah,
I was a
Sonic 2 is a
I
good
was a
one.
Nintendo kid, so I never got to play Sonic. I
Uh,
think I've played like maybe a total of 15 minutes of Sonic's at a friend's house.
yeah,
I had a Genesis instead of like a Super
Mhm.
Nintendo, so
Mhm.
either of those could be my answer, but that's my answer is one because I remember getting it is Kirby's Adventure, and I
Okay.
remember
That's when
AR
I came
remember.
in.
Yeah, here's
Yeah,
it.
that's when I didn't get into Kirby as a kid. That when I came into, later on
Well
with
that
Virtual
get
Console,
well
and
that gets
it's a good game, yeah.
that gets into why I remember it because I remember Nintendo Power, EGM, whatever magazines and seeing previews of it
Yeah,
in it,
yeah, yeah.
and I then remember, okay, the game's out. Visiting my grandparents and grandfather takes me to Toys R Us, and you get the rows of the slips. Did you guys live
Mhm.
in areas where they did that, or did you live in areas where the cartridges were out?
uh we didn't have a Toys R Us near us. We had
Okay.
Family Toy Warehouse,
Okay,
so
We
they
so
were actually
had
just like in a
we had
case.
it was behind glass. You had to get the
okay,
manager to
yeah,
open it up
so
for you.
okay, so AR had what I had. So Dev, if you didn't know this, a lot of Toys R Us was when they had video game sections, they didn't have the room to display them. So they would be paper slips where you'd look. There'd be like a plastic sleeve with the game cover art, and you'd flip it up to read the back of the box, and you'd grab a paper slip. You'd pay for it. They'd stamp things on the slip, and you'd take it to like a caged glass area where they'd go and get the game from the back.
The weirdest place where I've had that system applied was for buying camera film at Michael's. It
Um,
was for I was being a gopher for guests at a convention, and they wanted a specific kind of camera film that I could only get at Michael's, and that was the system they had for it.
Yeah, that shit walks
yeah.
off all
So
the
Oh, I
damn
bet.
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason why I remember it is at Toys R Us, I'm like, okay, Kirby's Adventure's out. Do you have it? They're like, there is no Kirby's Adventure. You're thinking of Kirby's Dream Land for Game Boy. And it's like, no. Kirby's Adventure, NES, new game. They're like, there's only Kirby, only came out a year or two ago. We have it right here. And I'm like, no. And, my grandfather said something to the effect of, well, if they don't believe you, we'll just go somewhere else. My grandfather let me drag him to like 10 different places. And then we found it at a toy store we'd never shopped at blocks away from his house. And that game was
Nice.
fucking worth
Damn.
it because that game was fucking Kirby's Adventure was fucking amazing because it was one of the late era NES games that was just
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
spectacular.
when they really figured out how to maximize the graphics.
Well, that's when it wasn't even really an
Yeah.
NES anymore when they were putting so much
Yeah.
hardware in
Yeah.
the cartridge. But yeah,
Yeah. The
Kirby's
game I
Adventure
remember that
is
really exemplified, like, I know people are not necessarily high on the gameplay of it, but Mega Man 6, some of the graphics on that were really snazzy for NES.
oh yeah, I remember the Rush suits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now
That
Mega Man 6. Yeah. Although
even the
although
sunset on the Tomahawk Man stage was nice.
yeah, there was some nice stuff there. Um, Then someone asked, are there any of the older Digimon games you'd wish to be remade? And the thing is that a lot of those games weren't really that good. It's just what we had. Um, See, even the ones I like Battle Spirit, I'm not sure I'd want to play that. Eh. God, I bought a fucking Wonder Swan to get the 1.5 version of it.
I mean, I really like Digimon World. I'm just salty that they. I mean, technically they did remake it as redigitized, but it's just
Yeah.
They're
pain in
all
the ass to get a
terrible.
hold of.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, they're all meh.
You wanted it remade, and instead you got Next Order.
Um, okay, and here's a good one. Dev, why don't you read this one? Because I know you're excited anytime someone wants to know about this. So why don't you go ahead?
It's like, did Mark and DevQ really destroy the collector value for that Digimon press thing, or was that a joke when they bring it up?
Dev's very happy. Dev, I was gonna let you talk about it.
We fucking destroyed it. Like,
Dev's so
they
fucking
were
happy about
trying
that.
because I am an archivist and a librarian at heart, and I like, you know, people to have access to things. And when someone tries to, like, you know, charge fans out the ass for access to this resource, I'm like, nah, fuck this guy.
Oh yeah, it was me and Dev and a few other people put together some money. I grabbed it, took a few months, and literally pulled off every bit of information from those, and that's why the gallery exists, because it was too much to just throw in an article. And I believe the last
Also
time
hilarious because, like, it's in some, wasn't it in some weird format anyway?
there was a lot of a lot of old vector formats. A lot of times it'd be raster images embedded in the vectors, but part of them would be vector. So a lot of it was converting them to more modern formats. And it was just fun. And my favorite part, which I don't know if Dev remembers, is a year ago we checked to see if any of them were still being sold on eBay, and one just sat there for months and months for like $20.
I know, it was the delight.
Yeah, so Dev was always really, really happy about that. Um, Ian wants to know, do you have any early predictions or hopes for Toei's Digimon April Fool's Day art this year? And as a refresher, he wanted us to remember that they did the Metabot stuff last year.
How well was that? Was that a bit? How much attention did that end up getting? Like outside of the Digimon slash Metabots communities?
Well, the
Hard
problem
to
is,
Because I
say
don't
because they
remember.
took it
it's
down,
hard to
like, right
say.
after.
It's also hard to say because there's so many
Yeah,
purposely obvious April Fool's Day stuff done from anime companies where it's more the churn. So, although people do
mm-hmm.
still seem confused that it's not an actual Digimon. So, like
Yeah,
people definitely saw it, but didn't. They don't seem fully aware anymore that it was an April Fool's joke.
yeah. I think it's just going to be some Twitter art, is what
Yeah.
I'm expecting. Like they'll just do a quick Twitter art thing, and that's going to be that. And it might be quite fun, but
See,
I'm not expecting any massive
here's the thing.
production like
I'm
that
thinking
was.
about prior jokes they've done, and we're not waiting for anything this time. So I could easily see it be something like them doing the Sukumon Adventure try stuff, but for the new show, where it's just that poster
Right.
image, but with those characters on it. Um,
Be fun.
okay, one more
Mm-hmm.
person from our video game loving fan. Would we like a Digimon RPG in the style of Final Fantasy or the style of Pokemon? The style isn't actually that different. Like, there's wild differences, of course,
Uh,
but like the overall
between
style of
Final
them,
Fantasy and Pokemon, or
yeah, in the
I think we're
style of Final
talking.
Fantasy or
I
Pokemon.
think I think the question is tone.
I mean, here's the thing: what Final Fantasy? I guess because at this point, Final Fantasy is barely Final Fantasy. I remember when did you guys see the announcement trailer for 16 when they announced it?
Nope.
I didn't even know there was a 16 in existence.
So when they first showed the announcement trailer, it didn't say Final Fantasy at first. It's just showing the trailer. I remember chatting with friends, typing, and I go, "What is this weird Devil May Cry knockoff thing?" It's like an ugly medieval Devil May Cry, and someone goes, "It's Final Fantasy. It's gonna be Final Fantasy," and I remember laughing because it looks like a beat 'em up. Like, yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah. I mean, I'd actually a weird thing that I've pointed out before, and I think Dev agreed with me when we discussed it, was think about something like Dragon Quest XI, which if you've played it, it's great RPG. Think about how many different anime that, if they wanted to, they could just reskin that and sell it, and it'd be a great seller, great received for so many different Japanese anime series.
I guess to answer the question, thinking about that a little bit more, is I'd say it's Pokemon. I'd say I'd go more in the direction of Pokemon, not in the plot elements, but in terms of linearity. Like
So
Pokemon has a vaguely linear story in the games, but you can go completely off the rails and in different directions if you'd like to, and kind of catch up at your leisure and
okay,
really
so
explore the
they
world.
clarified what they meant, basically just pointing out what Final Fantasy meant, and I guess wouldn't both of those basically be Cyber Sleuth?
Yeah, it really is.
Like, because they
Yeah,
go,
like Cyber Sleuth is a real happy medium between the two.
yeah, and yeah. So, I mean, they've kind of already done that twice, and
But I guess the question would be, which direction would you prefer they gravitate
I'd
towards?
I'd prefer just like a story thing, like Final
Yeah,
Fantasy.
I want
So
something.
so
I want something with a good story. That's what it comes down to for
here's
me.
the thing. I'm not super worried about it being a collection. I'm not super worried about collection if, and of course, a lot of those games, a lot of old style RPGs have added where you can then collect the monsters. And
Yeah,
I bring
yeah.
it up too much when it comes up. That's what Ni no Kuni is. It's why I bring it
Hmm.
up so much. Is it's basically Final Fantasy Digimon Pokemon.
Yeah, and when I say, I'd lean towards Pokemon, it's just because of that. I don't want something to be completely on the rails, but story would be still the most important
Look,
factor to me.
more accurate is Pokemon because Digimon fans will never be happy, and neither are Pokemon fans.
I mean,
It's
Digimon. Yeah, well, also Digimon fans will not be happy if it's something very linear, where you only have so many where you only have so many Digimon that you have access to.
I mean, they're very excited for Survive, which they've said is only going to have like 100.
I
I'm
think
I
that's
just think the
going to be
plot.
something, but I think that's because we're getting
thanks.
promised a lot of different branching
Yeah.
diversions for
Oh,
the various Digimon.
woo,
So I think the way that's
I
going
mean,
to play out will,
it's less branching when you think about when there's 7 people on the team.
yeah,
It's 7 or 8 people. With 100, that's
right,
not all
seven
that
or eight
much.
people, 7 or 8 Digimon, and if each of them have 3 or 4 different pets, I think you have a few. There's still
Yeah.
enough possibilities there that you can keep somebody entertained, but
Yeah, I guess so.
I think that that's going to be I think people will judge it pretty harshly if those
Well,
are more
okay.
straightforward than
It's unfair.
promised.
It's unfair to bring up Survive in that context because I think unless it comes out and it's just fucking glowing, it will be judged harshly regardless because of the wait.
Well, yeah, that too.
I mean, at this point, unless Survive comes out and we're all like, "Oh man, we were so fucking wrong. It's fucking amazing." I don't think it's good enough to
I mean,
at this point.
yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm probably
Yeah, it's
going
like,
to.
what were you doing all this time?
telling us how good the next story game would be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to judge it. I can detach myself enough from the weight to judge it
Oh,
based
I
on,
can
the
too, but
story character elements, but
most people can't.
yeah,
M-
most people
most
are
people
going to
are
be
like,
like, we
"Oh,
waited
it's
all this time for
most
that.
people like it's being delayed because they're gonna make it the great game. It's gonna destroy
No,
Pokemon."
that's not the impression I'm getting.
Oh,
And
it's not. But I'm saying
yeah,
that's how people are acting that it is.
yeah, yeah,
L- Like
that's
here's the
no.
thing. Like coronavirus delay, very normal thing. It does not feel like it's actually a coronavirus display. It feels like it was a very convenient thing for them to say, at least in
Yeah,
my opinion. So
yes.
yeah, and then not in the questions, but a few people sent in something along these lines. So no hedging, no giving percentages. If you were to guess one thing, what the one announcement thing would be, the big thing for the commentary stream, what do you think it will be?
No hedging at all. I'm gonna go
No hedging.
4Ks.
You have to just go that if I were to make one guess, this is what I think it's going to be.
4Ks
Okay.
of Kazuna.
Okay. Dev.
I was also gonna say 4K because that makes the most sense.
I'm going to say new fucking thing. I don't know if that means movie, book, manga,
That's
but stop.
hedging.
No,
That's
no, no,
hedging to
not
me.
hedging, because I'm saying sequel thing to Kazuna. I don't know what
Okay,
format
sequel
that will
thing to
take.
Kazuna. Okay. Okay.
Because here's the thing. Great week for them to announce it too. He just won a fucking award yesterday.
Ooh.
What was it? Akadama Drive was said to be like the winner. It was some anime thing yesterday, like literally.
It is, but they couldn't have been banking on that.
No, but I'm saying like it was a week where to have him involved is good, even if he loses.
Yeah, that's added to the press release.
Yeah.
But the press release is already prepared.
Oh yes. But yeah, I'm saying it's a new thing. I don't know if that means movie, OVA, manga, novel, but something that follows up on Kazuna is my guess. And that is a wild, stupid guess, but that's what I'm going with. That's in my heart what I believe. I would certainly not be unhappy for a 4K disc, though. So
Oh.
that's what I want to see. I'm trying to decide if they. I'm trying to decide if they would announce a 4K disc so soon after. That's the only place where the 4K thing gives me pause. But even still, it's been half a year, and if you do it later this year, it could be a year later. Yeah, I'm still going with new Kazuna thing. So
We've been burned too many times to be optimistic, but we appreciate you. We appreciate you for keeping the flame alive.
AR, do you have anything coming up in the next week?
I do not. No. None of the Tumblr asks are that compelling to me. I'll
Okay.
answer some, but
Okay. Dev, what Wikimon article, and you're not allowed to fucking say Ogremon, what Wikimon article would you like people to read this week?
I was gonna say what I'd planned for Jagumon because potatoes are delicious and you should, relish the potato sheep before he gets here.
Okay, Giagamon it is. Um,
God, I just
we
want a baked potato.
we will be here Sunday next time instead of Monday because I have stuff to do on Monday.
do you have to
Woohoo!
take over
Just
someone's
remind
Twitter
me.
channel again?
Is it really taking it over when it's me most of the time, anyways?
Hard to say.
Yeah, but yes, discotheque stream, anime announcements, good fun. I'm looking forward to it. So we will catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.